You're watching Poland Daily. Tonight our guest is Mr. Edgars Rinkēvičs, Foreign Affairs Minister of Republic of Latvia. Sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Let us start from the issue that bothers Poles most. The Russians and Germans are building the Nord Stream 2 pipeline and thus going to bypass the all Central Europe with the gas import. This is a huge project. Poland is very much against that. What is the position of Latvia in this particular issue?
Well, we share the same position as Poland, as many other countries in the region. We think that Nord Stream 2 project is not a business project. We see it as a geopolitical project that is also a direct security challenge to all of us. So from that point of view, from day one of this project, we have been standing the same position with our Polish friends, with our Baltic friends, with our friends from Central European nations and also from Scandinavian countries, some of Scandinavian countries.
Yet we see that the Western European companies from Italy, Belgium, Holland, France, and obviously Germany are pushing towards making this deal and others with Russia. They see some great profits from the trade with Russia. It's hard to understand from our perspective.
Well, I think that, of course, there is a business interest and making money is one of the priorities of any business. What I believe that if we look at the long-term perspective, then Nord Stream 2 project is not going to be financially or economically sustainable. But of course, this is something that most probably some of our friends in the Western Europe are going to learn over the time. I still remember that we were warning about some of propaganda issues our European friends years ago, and nobody was noticing. We are warning about Nord Stream 2. Well, there are now mixed feelings. There is also understanding by many of European politicians that this is not a good project. However, I agree with you that there is some kind of dual track, let's say, when it comes to our policies vis-à-vis of Russia. On one hand, we understand that we need to tackle the aggression against Ukraine, the growing security risks, and on the other hand, there is also quite a big desire to do the business at all costs.
We also, in this part of the world, want to make money and grow our population to be richer and more prosperous. And the idea how to do it is not only take goods and services from Western Europe, but also create our own zone of cooperation between the countries. What is the position of Latvia towards the idea of, well, vaguely speak, Intermarium?
Well, you call it Intermarium. In Latvia, we know this initiative as 3 Seas initiative, but that's actually the same. We have been the active member of this cooperation framework from the very beginning, when it was relaunched by President of Poland and President of Croatia. We do see that there is a high interest from some of our business companies and communities, but I would say a couple of priorities that I see are very important. First of all, I think that it would be very good that we can develop a very good energy cooperation in this, let's say, cooperation framework. Second is transportation networks. We are now building Rail Baltica, and we believe that if connected through Poland with some European level railway networks, that would provide real incentive for both for tourism and also for cargo flow. And the third, I do believe that because this is rather brand new thing for all of us, the digital cooperation, creating the digital networks, probably also investing in 5G network, working on those issues where we already have some pilot projects. I think that would be very, very helpful in order to create a very good area for doing business, for trade, and also for expanding economic cooperation at large.
Are there any particular sectors of economy that Latvia would like to develop in order of be more competitive in this 3 Seas area?
Well, we are very much investing in digital area. That's probably now priority number 1. However, we also believe that if we really want to look from the long-term perspective, we need to invest more in interconnectivity, energy independence, or the reduction of dependency from Russia is already a goal that we are working very well with our Polish and Baltic friends. We are now having the aim to switch from Russian and Belarusian electricity networks to European electricity networks by 2025. I also believe that we can jointly work with our colleagues at 3C initiatives to attract more funding from European Union and also from outside, like the United States. Second, also, I would say that if we could be able to, let's say, make a visible progress on Rail Baltica network to connect it with, as I said, with Poland, and also the Polish side would be able to upgrade the network, the railway network from Warsaw to the Polish-Lithuanian border, and then we could connect it to different other European networks. I believe those things would be very, very beneficial for all of us. So digital would be number one, but we also are attaching the importance to the energy and transportation projects.
So let us say about another issue that is very common among these countries of this area is migrant workers. We have about 600,000 Ukrainians living here on a permanent basis, and there are up to 2 million migrant working from generally East or ex-Soviet Union. That's Belarus, that's Russia, that's Kazakhstan and countries further east. Is Latvian economy similar in that aspect to Polish?
Well, I think that, yes, indeed, you touched upon a very interesting issue, and now the migration policy is being debated in Latvia. I think that we have been in a very strange situation over the last 15 years. When we entered the European Union, a lot of skilled workers left Poland or Latvia to work in United Kingdom, in Germany, in other European Union nations. What we are now feeling is that we have some certain deficit in almost all sectors of economy. And that's, by the way, is the argument that we are also using when we discuss the next European Union budget, saying that we need to do more to achieve the real convergence, because otherwise our economy is going to suffer and some other countries are going to benefit in the European Union. So what we are currently discussing is how to make so-called smart migration policy, that we attract people from different, let's say, sectors of economy from countries where there is a workforce to Latvia. I do believe that it is going to be quite a difficult debate, because there are different opinions in our society, in our parliament, but to some extent I would say that both of our countries are facing the same challenges. And by the way, I'm also hearing that there are people from Ukraine, from other countries, that are getting working permits in Poland, and then they are traveling for that or another assignment also to Latvia. So we are quite interconnected already in this regard, but I do believe that we need to address this deficit of workforce and to find the ways how to make migration policy that is beneficial to our economies, to our societies, and not to make some of those mistakes that have been made in the past by some other EU member states, be it 50s, 60s or 70s.
Mm-hmm. There is new European budget being discussed right now. I think this discussion, if it will end this December, it will be very good, very unlikely. But do you think that the countries of our region of Europe will adopt the same negotiation platform? We come out with this same propositions for the budget?
Well, I think that we have very good cooperation with so-called Friends of Cohesion. For instance, last year in Bratislava, we adopted the joint declaration about the need to address some of the long-term challenges that our countries are facing. One and the most important challenge, I believe, is that we need to speed up convergence between, let's say, our countries and the rest of European Union. By the way, Latvia and Poland are almost on the same position. Currently, Poland has 70% of the average living standard of the European Union. Latvia has 67%, so we are almost at the same level. So, and we believe, and that's the position that I'm sharing with the Polish colleagues when we discuss this issue in EU General Affairs Council, we need to continue cohesion policy. We disagree with the proposal of the European Commission to cut cohesion funding to Latvia by 13%, and I believe for Poland it's even the greater number. The same goes also for direct payments to our farmers. Having said that, we are also ready to contribute more, and I also know that Poland is ready to contribute more to the European budget in order also to provide financing to the new initiatives like defense, tackling migration, strengthening external borders of the European Union. So from that point of view, yes, I believe that we have already good cooperation and we can maintain this level of cooperation and joint position in the future. And by the way, I very much agree with you that it is very unlikely that we are going to complete the budget discussions by December. I think that it's going to be German presidency the second half of the next year when probably we will be finally reaching some kind of compromise.
Well, that's my professional skepticism. What about the immigration? This was the highest topic in political campaigns across Europe recently, the immigration from the south, from the Near East. Some call it illegal immigration because those people are not using the European system of embassies, visas, and so on. They just pack up to the rubber boats and go to Greece, Spain, or Italy. How do you think what we should do to stop that, to make it acceptable for Europeans? Should we just give up and say, okay, that's how it is? There will be 2 billion people in Africa like next 10 years, and if half of them move here?
Look, first of all, we make a distinction between the illegal migration and refugees. And it has been my very firm belief that we need to provide refugees the status that is in accordance with international law. That was also the reason why Latvia, back in 2015, voted for the so-called resettlement and relocation quotas. But our position has been also very strict and very firm. We are against any kind of automatic relocation or resettlement schemes. We believe that still nations need to be distinguished in accordance with their living standards. And by the way, many of those people who were coming to Latvia as part of relocation and resettlement schemes, they left for Germany, for Sweden, because all the benefits were higher there than they are in Latvia. And that would be very unjust if, let's say, we would be paying 3 times more social benefits to those people, and our people who are pensioners or on a kind of social welfare system, they are receiving less. That's immediately a very, very strong argument against. So my take would be that, yes, we need to address the reform of migration system. Yes, we need to strengthen external borders. And yes, we need to provide solidarity with countries in the south. However, we also need to look at some general rules of asylum policy, because they are very different in different countries. In our part of the world, they are probably stricter. In some other countries, they are more liberal. In that case, I do believe that we need to find a way how we have strict policies that are European-wide policies addressing asylum seekers. We need to address also what we call economic migration from the point of view of our own interests, and that's why I was talking about the smart migration. And yes, from time to time, if we see in Latvia that there is a real case where some other of our EU member states are not able to cope with migration on a voluntary basis, and I underline the word on the voluntary basis, taking into situation of economics and social, let's say, conditions of the country, then in our case it is the parliament that decides, and our parliament can vote also to accept relocation or resettlement. But in order to go to the parliament, we need also to see that this is the real case, not that there are failures of that or another Dublin system that now we are trying to address in common. So this is not black and white situation. We do believe that we had a lot of emotions, and unfortunately migration issue was exploited by radical political forces in many countries, and I still think that that kind of rhetoric will impact also European elections. But if we are not addressing those issues, then the situation is going to go worse. So we are standing somewhere in a centrist position in this debate in the European Union.
Sir, thank you very much. Edgars Rinkēvičs, Foreign Affairs Minister of Republic of Latvia, was our guest, and that was it for Poland Daily.